Hey, you. Yeah, you. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. Don Sherry. Rough, rough, rough. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the theme sung by me of Coach's Corner from Hockey Night in Canada, with background vocals from Blue, Don Sherry's beloved dog. Rest in peace. I didn't even know where to begin with this. You know, you could blame the whole PC culture. A lot of people say that Don Sherry was on borrowed time. I mean, in this world that we live in, everything that Don Sherry has said in the past has been 100% honest. He doesn't sugarcoat things. He's old school. He's as old school as you get. And ladies and gentlemen, when you're 85 years old, you don't change your ways. You are what you are. He's been doing this for, what, over 35, something like that, years. It doesn't matter. He provided great entertainment during the first period and the second period. The first intermission, as us Canadians call it. And unfortunately, he got fired because he said, "you people," instead of saying everyone. But he said "you people" many times. Let me remind people of a very funny movie called Tropic Thunder. Remember the classic scene where Robert Downey Jr. looks at Ben Stiller's character, and keep in mind he's in blackface, or he's a dude playing a dude disguised another dude, as he describes it, and he goes, "Wait, what do you mean, you people?" And then the black guy in the background says, who's on Californication for a little bit, "Wait a minute, what do you mean, you people? Huh?" Now, that was meant to be weirdly racist and comical and all that, but it's a movie. I get that, folks. I get it. But you know, when a lot of people say "you people" in general, they're not referring to a race or a type of sex. It's just the way it is, you know? I'm not condoning what Don Sherry said, but at the same time, can we not stretch the fuck out of it? Like, is this the last straw that Sportsnet was looking for, just to get rid of Don Sherry and, you know, out with the old, in with the new? Not even in with the new. I mean, Ron McLean's there, you know? He could have backed up Don Sherry a little bit more. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to get more into that a little later. But for now, I'd like to discuss what Don Sherry represents and what this man is all about. Because we all knew one day this was going to happen, but we didn't want it to happen like this. But I want to remind people what Don Sherry is all about. Thank you, Wikipedia, for providing me such great insight. I always appreciate it. Donald Stewart Sherry, born February 5th, 1934, is a Canadian ice hockey commentator. He is also a sports writer, as well as a retired professional hockey player and National Hockey League, NHL, coach. Sherry played one game with the Boston Bruins and later coached the team for 5 seasons after concluding a successful playing career in the American Hockey League. From 1986 to 2019, Sherry co-hosted Coach's Corner, a segment aired during CBC's Saturday night NHL broadcast, Hockey Night in Canada, with Ron McLean. Nicknamed Grapes, he is known for his outspoken manner and opinions and his flamboyant dress. By the 2018-19 NHL season, Sherry and McLean had hosted Coach's Corner for 33 seasons, from 1984 to 2019. Sherry also hosted Grapeline, a short form radio segment with fellow sportscaster Brian Williams, and also created the video series Rock'em Sock'em Hockey. In 2004, Sherry was voted by viewers as the seventh greatest Canadian all time in the CBC miniseries, The Greatest Canadian. In March 2010, his life was dramatized in a two-part CBC movie, Keep Your Head Up, Kid, the Don Cherry story, based on a script written by his son, Timothy Cherry. In March 2012, CBC aired a sequel, The Wrath of Grapes, the Don Cherry story 2. Cherry has sometimes proven controversial for making political statements during Coach's Corner, having faced criticism for remarks regarding Canada's lack of support for the 2003 invasion of Iraq, insinuating that only Europeans and French guys wore visors on their helmets, and denying climate change. In November 2019, Cherry was fired by Sportsnet from Hockey Night in Canada for comments that suggested Canadian immigrants benefit from the sacrifices of veterans but do not wear Remembrance Day poppies. Where the fuck do I begin with this, folks? I mean, like I said before, in many ways, he was on borrowed time. Jerry is 85 years old. I'm 37. I'm already set in my ways now. I'm not going to change. I like who I am. Imagine when you're 85. Like, think about it. 85 years old. In this day and age, you tell someone that you're 40, 50, you're old, you can't do shit. 85 years old. Still going to Fabricland. That's right, Fabricland, to have his suits tailored. Now, for those of you who don't know what Fabricland is, Fabricland. One, it has a great saying. And two, that's where Don Cherry gets his suits. But it's not your typical suit fitting store. If anything, it's not a suit fitting store at all. It's where people go get pieces of cloth. You know, when you go to those old school basements there, you know, they smell like mildew and whatever. And, you know, you go in there and you see all these like old patterns and, you know, you're like, hey, this would make a cool tablecloth, or hey, you know, I could, you know, use this for a doily. Don Cherry said, you know what? I'm going to make my suits out of this. And that's what he did. And some of these suits are fan-fucking-tastic. Very shiny, very glittery, sometimes very reminiscent of Elton John. You feel like he's about to go on the piano. And if anything, there was a little segment on YouTube where they make a point where every time Don Cherry always makes a point, I'm going to say point one more time, he puts his fingers on the desk to always, emphasize his point. And they made fun of this by adding piano sounds. So every time he would, touch the table, you'd hear bang, bang, just like a beautiful, bright colored conductor. It was awesome. One of my favorite suits every time when he's dressed up at Christmas. He's always got the shiny red suit. He's already got the white beard. That's taken care of. All he needs is the hat. Boom. Canadian Santa Claus. I don't know what he's called. As long as he brings me presents, that's all I give a shit. And he's got a beautiful tie. The Santa Claus tie looks very fat. Ho, ho, ho. Who wouldn't know? And that's it. It's that simple. It's to show that he's relatable to everybody. Doesn't matter. Maybe people will think he's... The point is, it doesn't matter how many guys he kisses. He can kiss Doug Gilmour, Nazem Kadri, all he wants. It doesn't matter. Just like Don Cherry said, a kiss is just a kiss. And the guy was a tough fucking player. Only played one game, like I said before, for the bad boy Boston Bruins. And, they were close to winning that championship that year, and it all fell apart, I think, in the third period there. And, a lot of people did not see that one coming. Even at one point, Don Cherry was like, when the fuck is this going to end? He didn't say fuck, but I knew what he was thinking. And yeah, people were like, well, what if you did this? What if you did that? And, he said one of the funniest lines I've ever heard a human being say. He said, if my aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle. And it's true. It's, yeah. Again, Don Cherry did not mix words. He was very straight to the point. I mean, he just did not care. In this case, though, he said words that got him fired. You people. From now on, I'm going to try to avoid that mistake myself. I'm just going to say everybody. I'm not going to say you people suck. I'm going to say everybody sucks. What do you mean, you people? I mean, these people. No, but what do you mean, you people? I mean, is this what it's come to, guys? I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's getting to the point where in today's society, we're going to offend people by saying the word the. It sounds stupid, but that's where we're pretty much heading. And it sucks, And yeah, me personally, like I said before, I absolutely believe that Don Cherry was on borrowed time. He's said a lot of shit before this. One of the things I always remember is when, they were just talking about, people paying attention, during the hockey game, and, it was a problem for a while. Like, people were just getting hit in the head with hockey pucks. And, Don Cherry's like, I've seen a lot of smacks. And it's always a woman yapping away there. Come on, what are you talking about? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, blah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, no, you shouldn't say that. Oh, you shouldn't. What a wimp. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't think that Don Cherry should have said that. It's not women that are the only ones not paying attention to a hockey game. It's guys too. It's kids. It's everybody. I mean, have you ever been with someone and you're just sitting there and they're just yapping away? The game is on. It's like, dude, shut up, please. I'm trying to enjoy the game. Wait till commercial to tell me about how your wife is cheating on you with the gardener. I don't give a fuck. Until then, wait for the buzzer. Then we'll talk about it. No, wait after Coach's Corner. No, wait the highlights. No, wait. Okay, you got 30 seconds. No. Okay, sorry. The point is, I don't have Coach's Corner anymore. Nobody has Coach's Corner anymore. No more milk or honey for anybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe I have to explain this to people in 2019, but here goes. What he meant to say was, to all you fucking idiots out there who don't understand what Don Cherry was saying, is that all he's saying is that anybody, or in this case, everybody should remember to wear a poppy or have a poppy in their house or whatever on Remembrance Day. To remember the soldiers that put their lives ahead of us and died for us. To be able to give thanks. That's all he was saying. That's it. He's not saying that, people that immigrated here from another country in the last 5-10 years saying, hey, you got to give thanks, or you guys are bad people for not wearing poppies. Like, he didn't say any of that shit. No. All he's saying is that everybody should give thanks. Now, me personally, I have 2 poppies above my fridge. And for those of you who know me, I'm at my fridge very often. So I'm often reminded of what our soldiers did for us. My grandpa, my papu, in Greek terms, rest in peace, served as a World War II veteran. My cousin served in the army as well, about 10 whatever years ago, because when you're born in Greece, you hit a certain age, you got to go in the army. They didn't see any action. But at the same time, they served. Even my one cousin, he was born there. Then he visits again. And then he got stopped at the airport and they gave him shit for not serving. It doesn't matter. That story has nothing to do with what I'm saying right now. It was just funny. But the point is, all he's saying is wear a poppy. That's it. Just show your appreciation. You gotta understand, an old school guy like Don Cherry, 85 years old. When you're 85 years old, you've seen a lot of shit. You've seen a lot of changes. And I guarantee you, a guy like that is walking the streets and not seeing a younger generation, if not maybe people half his age, not wear a poppy. And to a guy like that, it's very insulting. And I understand where he's coming from. It just came out wrong. That's it. That's all it was. It's that simple, you know? But you know the people at Sportsnet, you know, the PC fuckers watching there, you know they were waiting for that one moment to pounce. You know, okay, you know what? He's going to say something, eventually something sexist, something racist, something, you know, remotely close to that. And they're just going to pounce on it. And they did. And they got him. Good for you, jerk-offs. Good for you. Yeah, you got your little popcorn fart in the news there. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, way to take down a legend. Way to take down a guy who fucking represented every Canadian to the fullest. Now, sure, he said a lot of stupid shit, you know, like he would talk about, like, you know, the whole foreigner thing, whatever, all, you know, the visors and Canadians are the toughest and all that, you know. But again, he's just a proud Canadian, man. I mean, you take it with a grain of salt. I mean, don't, like, you know, it's just his opinion. That's all it is, man. Like, you really think he wants harm on other people? No, of course not. I mean, it sucks, man. Like, it really sucks, you know, that people just can't see that. And their lives are just so boring that they have to take down, you know, someone who's done so many great things, provided us with years of entertainment. I just assume one day that Don Cherry would retire, or, you know, God forbid, you know, knock on wood, that, you know, maybe something would happen to him and he would have to retire, you know, but not like this, man, you know. Not after 33 seasons. I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's really depressing. It really is, you know. And, you know, they said they gave him a chance to apologize. And, you know, he's like, he would have gone on air the next week and apologized, you know, but they didn't want that, you know. And then later on, he's like, all right, well, you know, I should have said everybody instead of you people, you know. If you go on YouTube right now, you will see about a minute segment of him saying you people over the years. And it's for other different things. Like, it's for describing like hockey or whatever situation. You know, it's got nothing to do with race or anything like that. It's just the way he talks. It's one of his phrases. Like, you know, in this world, man, you got to tiptoe around every fucking little thing, you know. It sucks, man, you know. And for a guy like Don Cherry, this is not the era to you know, be on television. It really isn't, you know, which is a shame, you know, because over the years, you know, I love Dave Chappelle, you know. Even Dave Chappelle got in a little shit for some of the things he said in his last stand-up there, you know. He's earned the right to say it. He's one of the best comedians of all time. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. David Letterman, you know, retired on top there. You know, he got some shit for his side actions, whatever he did. And, you know, but again, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, it's his private life. Let him deal with it. You know, provided so many great years of entertainment. And now they got Don Cherry, you know. Oh, yeah, we got him. Yeah, okay. Hey, good for you, buddy. Good for you. I'm seeing a pattern here. I don't know if your name starts with D. I don't know. Watch out. But, yeah, it just sucks, man. It really sucks. Grapes. How did he get the name Grapes anyway? I mean, it says here that it's a play off his last name, but sour grapes, I mean, like, raisins are dried up grapes, right? I don't know. Then it says it's also a play off his restaurants or the show Grapevine, and you know, I don't know, but it's a cool name though. I'm just saying. I mean, you know, it's weird though, right? Like sometimes you like. Do you ever go to the store and you get a bunch of grapes and like I mean they look really good, but then they're like sour on the inside, you know? Like you never know with grapes. I mean sometimes like they're just like about to burst, you know, with all this flavor, and I don't know. Maybe that's another reason why. I don't know, because they just didn't know what they were going to get that night. Like they didn't know if they were going to get a guy who you know is chill that night or a guy that's just going to go off and just bust out. You know? Am I really overthinking this, or I don't know? All I'm saying is, you know, you can't knock a grape down. That was horrible. The point is, again, it sucks that this is the way the great man went out. Yeah, that's right. I called him the great man. But uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I mean, like you guys put up with like his shit for years, you know, all this stuff before. I mean, this isn't the first time it's happened, right? You know, I'm not comparing it to like the whole Roseanne thing, but I mean, Roseanne had a pass before she went on Twitter there and said her shit. You know, like you guys know what you're getting yourselves into, right? You know, like again, I think this is just a way of, I don't know, out with the old and with the new, save a couple bucks on some new people. You know, maybe bring in a new generation. I guess I don't know. Fuck, you know. You guys tried it with George Stroumboulopoulos. That clearly did not work. I like George Stroumboulopoulos, man. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great interviewer. But him on Hockey Night in Canada, yeah, it didn't work, man. Yeah. Again, I'm not a big football fan, but remember when they put Dennis Miller on there, you know, try to create some comedy there? I mean, that was a fucking fish out of water. I mean, again, I love Dennis Miller. Funny guy. I thought his best acting role was on Boston Public, but yeah, again, it just didn't work. So I don't know, man. I mean, sometimes I always go back to the old phrase: if it ain't broken, don't fix it. You know, and it's been working for 85 years. So why fix it now? You know, I mean. Is there anything funny about football commentators? I don't know. Like, is John Madden still there? No? I don't know. I don't know. These days, you got to worry about if a player's going to rip off someone's helmet and beat the shit out of them with it. But, anyways, the point is, you know, I don't know what's going to happen now with good old Don Cherry being gone. You know, Ron McLean. Oh, man. Let's get into this one. Yeah, so everyone was waiting to see what Ron McLean was going to say. What was it, a couple of days later? I think he apologized for him and Don Cherry. I don't know, man. Best to just speak for yourself there, dude. Because, I don't know, Don Cherry was kind of iffy about the whole apologizing thing. He said he wanted to apologize live on air, which is better, on the show, you know. You know, the funny thing is, too, is like when all this happened, like I remember the next day they said, oh, he did something bad. I'm like, what did he do? Like, I remember watching it like the night before, and I was like, I don't remember him saying anything bad. I mean, what did he say? I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe that says something about me or whatever. But I don't know. And then Ron McLean, of course, you know, went on the next week by himself and set the record straight, and you know, just talk about what was going on in the last week. You know, he even said that Bobby Orr, which I consider to be the greatest hockey player of all time, but we'll get into that another time. And he even said that he was disappointed in Ron. And, then Ron said, I'm disappointed in me. So, Ron, I'm not going to lie to you. I can't speak for every Canadian out here, but I'm very disappointed in you. Listen, I can't imagine what it's like to actually put up with Don Cherry for all those years. I mean, we see him as this really cool guy, but at the same time, I guess from Ron's perspective, you know, there was even a moment where Don Cherry told him to, you know, shut up on air. You know, they were just having this argument, whatever. And, Don's just like, I'm keep telling you to shut up, and at the time, Don's wife was still alive, and she gave him a lot of shit for that. You shouldn't have done that. And, I agree. I mean, like like this pairing is like, you got the main guy outspoken, whatever, and then you got the guy kind of on the side, being sort of the nice guy, whatever, so that's why, Ron McClain and Don Cherry worked. I mean, if you had two Don Cherrys up there, it'd just be a fucking mess. I mean, one of them would have died by now. But, yeah, many ways, it's kind of like the Howard Stern to the Baba Booey. He just takes in so much shit, and he never explodes, he just takes it. So I don't know. Maybe on some level, this is like Ron's time. This is Ron's time to finally shine, and now he's taken the reins finally. And everyone knew that this would eventually happen. And Ron seems like a really nice guy. I remember back in the day going to a Leaf game, and my dad knew one of the ushers there. We go behind the net there along the boards, and we saw Ron McClain there. I said, "Hey, Ron," and he gave us a quick little wave, and I just, obviously he's not going to stop and tell us his life story there, but, nice guy, and, yeah, I mean, I guess on some level, Ron does deserve to be the next guy up, but I don't think anybody thought it would be like this, and I don't know. I just, it just doesn't feel right. And I think a lot of people were just expecting Ron to kind of like step up and, say, listen, I'm not going to do it if he's not there, And yeah, let's just be honest, guys. In today's world, that type of loyalty does just not exist. I mean, let's just be honest. Ron's been doing this for a long time. As far as I know, this is Ron's biggest thing. I mean, I don't think he's ever done anything else. I don't know. Like, I don't know if he does any other shows or anything like that. If he does, I've never heard of him. I obviously know him for this. I mean, like I said before with Don Cherry, he does a couple other things. He does, the advertisements, whatever. I remember he did like something about, it was some kind of like after shaving cologne or some shit. I don't know. He did a commercial where, I don't know, the whole point of this aftershave was like you slap yourself in the face a couple times and you smell great for the rest of the day. So the whole concept was, I mean, before they were talking about, how Don doesn't feel that, Swedish people are as tough as Canadians or whatever, and the whole European thing. And then, the voiceover in the commercial, I mean, Don Cherry is just about to, he's just finished shaving, he's about to put on the cologne or aftershave, whatever. And the voiceover says, Don Cherry is thinking about coaching a team in Sweden. Thanks. I needed that. Or something like that. And then, so that's the whole joke there. So he's making money off commercials, whatever. And then the Rock'em Sock'em videos. The Rock'em Sock'em videos, I mean, I think they've made 123 of them. I mean, they made a shitload of them. But it's just, of a compilation of the last year's greatest hits on, on the ice and hockey and, plays, I guess, and whatever. And that made him a lot of money, too. I think at one point Don Cherry owned a bar. I don't know if he still owns it now. But he's got other ventures. Like Ron, I don't know. The guy's got nothing else. I mean, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, he does shit for the CBC, and then that's it. I don't know. Like, whatever. So maybe for years, he felt like I was getting made fun of, and maybe that was the last straw. Maybe he's like, you know what? Fuck this. I mean, I'm not going to defend this guy. And maybe I'm just going to take the reins, and I'll try to do it the classy way or whatever the fuck, But I'll tell you this. The night, like when Don Cherry said, you people, and he's going into that whole speech, I'm watching Ron McClain, okay? First of all, he's got this kind of like weird stare, almost like, he's just trying to stay in the moment there. He almost looks like Mr. Burns in many ways. And at the end of Don Cherry's speech, he nods his head yes, and he agrees with him. So, again, he's saying like he was in the moment or whatever. The one thing I can't stand in life, I'll be honest with you guys, is people, that are nice people but have no balls. Hi, Dad. And it just doesn't work for me. It really doesn't work for me. It really doesn't. Like, if you want to be a nice guy, that's fine. But you know what comes with being a nice guy? Being loyal. I always think of that scene in Scent of a Woman. He's like, the guy's like, "Oh, you're a thing," and then Al Pacino says, "But not a snitch." And it's true. Like, you don't like you keep it in the family, you keep it at work, whatever. It's cool. So, Ron could have, like I said before, he could have easily said, "Look, I'm not doing this shit without my partner." And again, I don't know what the fuck is going on in Ron McClane's head then. I don't know what's going on now. I mean, who knows? So, I don't think I might be here in trouble, or I am here in trouble. Anyway, it's done. What kind of bullshit is that, man? Like, you either know it's good or bad. Like, Don's gonna say something, Of course, it's gonna be misconstrued, like it always fucking is. Like, come on, man. I mean, another great Al Pacino line. "You company man." I get it. Ron, I get it. You've been doing this for a long time. You need a job. I get it. But there's moments in life where everybody has that move, in show business, I feel, where it's either like you go left or you go right. And basically what I mean by that is you either, keep going and, you follow the company and you just play by the rules, or you just go against them and you take a chance. And it's not even that much of a chance, because you're still there and people will hear you out, and maybe you might lose some work because of it, but you know what? You don't lose your integrity. I'm not saying he lost his integrity completely here, but it just it sucks, man. I mean, he could have just stepped up and said, "Look, man, I'm not doing this without you," but he didn't. Instead, he decided to get out of the foxhole, as Ron said. And, he felt if he stayed in there, he'd be defending what, the accusations were against Don Cherry. But here's the problem, Ron. What Don Cherry was accused of is not what he did. That's the greatest and worst thing about today's world, is that because of the internet, everybody's got a fucking opinion. But most of those opinions are, what do you call it? Shit. And just because someone accuses you of saying something and what you said, spinning it into their version of it, that doesn't mean that's what the person said. So again, you could have stepped up and said, "You know what? You guys are making Don Cherry sound a certain way, and this is not what he meant." Instead you just assumed, that the people out there are right, because we all know how right people are on the internet, and yeah, I don't know why you did that. I don't understand. And what I don't understand even more is that Don Cherry told you that to be a good coach, or to help people, you always got to help people that are down and all that. And Don Cherry's down, and you're really not helping him. You're just leaving him in the dust. And I mean, there's got to be more behind this. I mean, there's got to be more behind the scenes. God only knows if Sportsnet went up to Ron and said, "Look, next thing that Don says, just sit there, just take it, and we'll deal with it, and you'll always have a job here, and once he leaves, you can have this and that." And fuck, it's all bullshit, man. I mean, money, money, money. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. Honestly, loyalty is just gone. It really is. I mean, it's a shame to see that, firsthand, but I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. But what really sucks is in the beginning of this speech, Don said to Ron, don't go too far. Now, obviously, when you hear that, it's kind of funny, because, well, for one, I've never seen Ron take it too far. But, also you just assume that, he's saying don't go, on rants or whatever, make sure what you're saying, unlike Don Cherry, But what if Don Cherry meant, like, don't go too far in the sense, like, maybe a whole, like, life perspective, Don't let, the management or, like, the broadcasting station that you work for, control you. You got to listen to yourself, because that's what Don always did. I mean, you say what you want about him. I mean, it wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but he always said what was on his mind. Like, he never mixed words. Never. What you see is what you get. But Ron, on the other hand, was just always the safety, really, I mean, nobody tuned in to watch Ed McMahon. They tuned in to watch Johnny Carson. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to downgrade Ron or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. Even I'm still pissed off. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe this is coming from a bad place or whatever. But still, it just, dude, you could have stepped up and said something. In retrospect, don't go too far. You've let this gone way too far, more than it had to be. The next day you should have said, or whatever, after you got fired, you should have said, you know what? If he goes, I go. That's honor. We honored what you meant. Well, you honored him by firing him. If being fired is being honored, then I'm one of the most honored people in Canadian history. But yeah, that's complete bullshit. Ron also said that they will never do anything in the first intermission. And then when they came back from commercial, they were interviewing two people. Okay. Maybe Ron meant that they'll never do anything as good in the first intermission. Maybe he was misquoted. Interesting. So Don Cherry was misquoted. He got fired. You got misquoted. You still have a job. And yet you still want people to accept you. Oh, the irony. But like I said before, it's a whole different generation. This generation will not understand Don Cherry. They will not understand the way he was and how great he really is. They won't understand jokes like, is it sit or gonorrhea? They won't understand when you're a hockey player, you don't keep your head down and don't pass to that person if they have their head down. Eric Lindros. Canadians are the best hockey players. Amen to that. Canadians are not weak, especially when we hit people on the ice. Wango, wango. Wendell Clark is a better hockey player with half a back than most guys is with a full back. My favorite Toronto Maple Leaf player of all time. Don is good at doing disco. Despite Bobby Orr not having the long career he should have, he is still a great kisser. And if you're arguing with a TV host on Canadian television late at night, the kids in the hall will always have your back. And when you see a soldier in front of a store during Remembrance Day, all you have to do is put whatever change you have, whatever you have to give, in that box. Take a poppy and wear it proud. And remember where that poppy came from. I love you, Don. Thank you very much for signing the plastic cup that my dad gave you in Collingwood for you to sign. It will always stand on my table very proudly. We miss you already, but we look forward to you and your son having a podcast. And keep in mind, on a podcast, you can say whatever you want to everybody. Get it? Thank you very much for all the great years of entertainment, and I'm looking forward to the podcast, to the future. One thumb up. Always. Don Cherry.